The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I want to share with you a story that happened to me years ago when I went to Eretz Israel. I was learning there many years in Yeshivat E3. There was one Sukkot that my parents, they allowed me to stay. And actually my brother and my sister came to Eretz Israel to spend Sukkot with me. So like an older brother, I'd like to be the one to take them around, to enable them to enjoy a little bit of touring. And one thing that I decided and I pegged in my mind, that Sukkot, that Chol HaMoed, is an event that happens by the Kotel, and I was sure that I did not want them to miss. Ladies and gentlemen out there, listen to me well. Take me up on this offer, like so many people who listen to this, and they come back and they say, wow, that was a moment that was priceless. They're referring to the second day of Chol HaMoed Sukkot, where it was there that they have Birkat Kohanim by the Kotel HaMa'aravi. This is something to see. You have people coming from all over Israel by the thousands. They pull in buses. They lock down the entire mountain of Rabbi. You could only literally go up either by Egged bus or you climb the mountain by foot. And it's there that you enter the Kotel area. And you come into the area of the Kotel, and it's swarmed with people. And you look around and you're surrounded by 30, 40,000 people just coming for the event of Birkat Kohanim. This is something that is so moving. This is a moment that really gives inspiration for a lifetime. You look around and you see that you're surrounded by so many different minyanim, and it is so beautiful. I remember that year walking up to the Kotel, holding my lulav and etrog, and I'm looking around and there's so many hundreds of minyanim. To my left there was a Sfaradi minyan, and behind me was a Temani minyan, and on the side of me there was the Hasidim dancing and singing in Hallel, and in front of me there was so many of the yeshiva guys from the Mir that was singing a traditional yeshivish tune to a Hallel. And you looked around and you saw Am Yisrael in all her glory. Such diversity, but yet such beauty. Klal Yisrael. And everyone prayed, broken out into their own minyanim, and this is the way they prayed Shachrit. And this is the way they read and sang Hallel. And as you walked around, you listened from minyan to minyan, the different tunes. And each song brings you back to a different era, to a different part of the world, where these and that minyan stemmed from, their parents and grandparents. What a beautiful diversity. And all these minyanim, broken out, continued to pray until Musaf. And then suddenly by Musaf, something incredible takes place. All these cells of hundreds of different minyanim, they all wait for each other. And when it comes to Musaf, they all come together. Ki ish echad ubelev echad. And what seems so different and diverse becomes literally one. And it's at that moment that they bring out these massive speakers, 8-10-foot speakers, and they put it all around the Kotel Plaza. And there people are waiting for the moment that everyone came for. The great Birkat Kohanim at the Kotel HaMa'aravi. And then the moment comes. And a Hazan stands up on a platform, and he holds the microphone, and he begins the Birkat Kohanim. The lead up to this moment is awesome. You have thousands of Kohanim making their way up to the wall. It's almost half of the Kotel Plaza itself, just filled with the Kohanim. I wanted to get a bird's eye view. I wanted to take in the whole picture. I wanted to enjoy this moment because I knew that this was an opportune moment that wasn't going to come again. So I made my way up the stairs, and I went up to the top, to the old city, the Rova HaYehudi, the spot where you can look down and see the entire Kotel Plaza with the Kotel HaMa'aravi, and all I saw was swarms and crowds of 50,000 strong. It was as if it was a swarm of white, moving back and forth under the talitot of Am Yisrael. And I watched as the Kohanim went up to the wall, standing, waiting to begin Birkat Kohanim. And then suddenly, something hit me. I took a minute, and I looked at the heads of the thousands of Kohanim standing by the wall, waiting for the Hazan to get up to Birkat Kohanim. And I noticed something. These thousands of Kohanim, one guy on his head was wearing a black hat. Another head, he had a kippah sruga. Another head was wearing that cardboard box-like kippah that they hand out by the Kotel for the people who don't come with the yarmulke. Every type of kippah that you could imagine in Am Yisrael, I was watching on the heads of these diverse crowd of Kohanim. I said, wow, you have there every Kohen from every walk of life of Am Yisrael. How beautiful that they came all together, standing together as one. But at that moment, I didn't appreciate it until, while looking at the heads of the Kohanim with all the different kippot, suddenly, at that moment, the Chazan begins and screams, Kohanim! And at that moment, all the Kohanim, like clockwork, take their talitot, and they begin to place it over their heads. And there, thousands of heads that look so different and so diverse, now they all together came together as one head, as one Kohen in white. How beautiful. It was at that moment that something took place that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Yes, the Birkat Kohanim was wonderful. And they started Yivarechecha Hashem. And then suddenly, on the word V'yishmerecha, thousands of stones and rocks began to be thrown over the Kotel wall by the Muslims, the Arabs, on the other side of the wall by the mosque on Har HaBayit. Apparently later we found out from the news that there, the head of the mosque, he made a speech convincing the Arabs there in the mosque that the reason why there's 50,000 Jews outside by the Kotel, by the wall, is because they're coming to take over. But in truth, it was only a play to rile up the people, to get them to come, to cause violence. And it was at that moment that the rocks began to shower down on the heads of the Kohanim. On which word? On the word V'yishmerecha. Not one Kohen moved. It was a moment that I'll never forget. It was raining rocks. The Kohanim stood strong. The Kohanim did not move. And then the Chazan continued, and there was yelling and screaming, Yisa Hashem, Panav Elech, and finally V'yasem Lecha Shalom. At that moment that we stood together, V'yishmerecha, with the rocks coming down on the heads of the Kohanim, but they can't touch us. Because although we're so diverse, when we're together, we're untouchable. The essence of V'yishmerecha, the Shmirah on the Shalom of Am Yisrael. So diverse, so different, but yet so together, Ki'ish Echad, Ubelev Echad. The moment Birkat Kohanim was finished, the Kohanim, you could imagine, ran from the Kotel Plaza. But at that moment, everyone realized the miracle. Thousands of rocks, and not one injury, not of one Kohen, because we were together. And when we stand together, He'asfu, that's the moment that Am Yisrael realizes. The moment of Geula. That's going to be the moment that we waited for so many years. The promise of Yaakov Avinu. He'asfu, come together, and there we'll see finally in our days the Aharit Hayami.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org